Well, one of the things that we do each year in the season for nonviolence is have one of our members or members of our community share a principle that supports the ideas that have come from Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi during this season for nonviolence. And so this morning I'm going to invite Ian Powers to come forward. He's going to share the reading for today and his reflections on the reading. So welcome, Ian.
Thank you, brother. There you go. My name is Ian Powers, and it's an honor to be part of the service today. My quote goes like this: "Today, I am aware of how my actions affect others." Mother Teresa said, "Kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless." Our thoughts, our words, our actions, our creative activity, but what are we creating today? Blessed Spirit, let me be aware of the power of my words. Let my words, as well as my actions, be only positive, enriching, and uplifting to all those who cross my path today. I offer myself to be in service to you by aligning my actions with your will for the highest good of all. Jesus taught that to love our neighbors as ourselves is one of the greatest commandments. Let me express my true nature as a child of God by allowing divine love to shine forth within me, blessing all those whose lives I touch today. We are all children of God, from the most devout believer to the most misguided extremist, to the ignorant and educated alike. Each one of us is a unique expression of a loving God. I'll be the first to admit that I do not always understand all of those expressions of God, but it's not my role to understand. My charge is to be the best me I can be. I'm of mixed cultural descent. My mother's family is Jewish and my father's family is Irish Catholic, but both sides of my family taught me the same things: that the right thing to do is always the right thing to do, that I'm the only person I can be, and that I have a duty to be the very best version of that I can. Kabbalah teaches us that we're all part of an interconnected weaving energy, billions and billions of conductors along the same electrical chains over eons. Some of us are superconductors like Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad. Some of us are larger conductors like Barack Obama or Mother Teresa, but most of us are simple conductors along the chain, just doing our part to keep the current moving. More often than not, the majority of us don't get recognized individually for our part in the spiritual circuitry. When 8 billion lights are shining at once, it's hard to see which one's twinkling. But when you're the bulb next to the one that's dimmed, it's not difficult at all to see that lack of shine. It might be challenging to see how our individual lights impact the greater good, but it's not hard to see when our lights contribute nothing, or worse, bring darkness. That's painfully obvious. We may not be able to make our light shine so bright that we're recognized throughout the world like those superconductors or larger conductors, but we can absolutely do our part to make sure that the greater circuitry maintains its current. When I choose actions that are anything less than positive, enriching, and uplifting, I choose to dim the light, not just my own light, but the entirety of the spiritual circuitry. Through our individual roles may not be recognized, our continued efforts to play them make great impacts. When we choose to see each other, even those of us whose lights we don't like, as children of God, another part of the spiritual circuitry, it becomes easier to find motivation to be kind, that is positive, enriching, and uplifting. So I think the question, what are we creating, is a very appropriate one if we expect to make any impact on the world around us. What are we creating? What are you creating? What am I creating? Am I approaching all of God's children as His creation, or am I judging and deciding which ones meet my approval? Picking and choosing who I treat with kind words, kind deeds, and kind thoughts is a clear expression of my will. If I want to align my actions with God's will for the highest good of all, the only reasonable approach is to treat all of God's children with kind thoughts, kind words, and kind deeds. This is a lofty aspiration, but fortunately, I can focus on the people I interact with on a daily basis. I'm not responsible for changing the world single-handedly, neither are you. But collectively, with simple and humble focus, we can play our part in the spiritual circuitry and let the divine love of God shine forth within each of us. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you're one of those big circuits. We can go along with that. Thank you, Ian, for sharing our reading and your perspective on our reading of today. Life Center, transforming